Good evening and welcome to Ek Samvad at Arunim Ankuran. This is a series of conversations with guests who are unique and special in their own way. Arunim Ankuran is an initiative for positive social change through self-development, and the goal is greater well-being and happiness for all. So we believe that each person is unique and special in some way, and each one of us can make a difference in the world in our own ways. Nothing brings people together like good food. And a chef is our guest today. A chef must think like a scientist, organize like an accountant, plate like an artist, and cook like a grandma. A very young chef in the making, a master chef in the making, Harshal Shyam. Welcome to Ek Samvad. Today we are going to talk to Harshal about his journey so far, and of course we wish him luck and hope to see him as a master chef someday. We're going to talk to Harshal about what made him choose this profession, to share his story, some memories that became learning experiences for him, qualities and skills that make a chef great, how the profile and status of chefs has changed over the years, some challenges that one may face in this industry, and advice for young culinary enthusiasts who are keen on this profession. So once again, a warm welcome to you, Chef Harshal. It's good to see you here.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for having me. It's a wonderful being on your platform. Thank you. Thank you once again for having me.
Welcome. And we'll start with you introducing yourself and your journey. Tell us something about how you chose to be a chef.
Sure. So it all started like when I was actually a child, and both my parents, they both are into education. They both run a school. My mom is the principal and my dad is the chairman of the school. So when they started the school in the initial stage, they both used to be completely busy. They used to go early in the morning and then they used to come back late at night. And after coming back from work, my mom sometimes used to go into the kitchen and cook the dinner. So it started from that time onwards when like me and my brother, we used to go inside the kitchen to help my mother and just help her prep the dinner. So I think so it started from there where I just used to enjoy helping her, and she would do most of the chopping and everything. I just used to climb onto the stool so I could reach the kitchen platform and just try sauteing whatever the vegetables are going on. So that is the initial stage where I started growing interest in cooking, and slowly it developed more into, I just became more enthusiastic. Like I always used to keep on asking, how do you make a tea? How do you make Maggie? So it started off with like small things, and then that's the time my father, slowly he saw that I'm starting to develop an interest towards cooking. So he promoted it, and then he had actually bought my first cookbook, which,
Mhm.
wait, I'll just show you over here. I still have it with me. So
Oh,
it's
oh,
the
that's
Indian,
really nice.
it's in the Indian menu planner. So this book is actually written by the ITC chefs, and he had given it to me when I was maybe in fifth standard or sixth standard. So it was around that time when he had gifted me this present, and then since that time onwards, I was just became more enthusiastic towards trying to learn more how much ever I can. So it used to start whenever we used to go to any family friend's house, and if I liked anything from the dinner, so I would just go in checking with all the aunties, like, how did you make this dish? And then mostly I used to be always in the kitchen
Mhm.
with anyone, and just trying to note down whatever they had put and taking down the recipes. And then
Mhm.
slowly I tried to go through this entire book and master each and every recipe whatever is there. It came after a lot of failures. It
Mhm.
didn't come like all of a sudden, because there
Mhm.
used to be a lot of disasters, but my mom and dad, both of them were really supportive. They always kept on encouraging me if there were any failures or if the dish didn't turn out well. They always just say that it's you can try it again the next time. And yeah, so it mostly started from there, and then it just developed into I used to always I was a huge foodie. I loved food. So whenever I used to go out, even to dine, I used to just like, go out to the chefs, and I used to be really amazed whenever I used to see them walking around in the chef fights.
Mhm.
So I used to be like, very excited. And I used to go up to them, ask them like if I had any doubts. I still remember like my most biggest means the excitement that I had was when I used to see sizzlers, because that thing still excites me. I think so. It
Mhm.
excites most of the people because when you hear the sound, the sizzle, and it's like, show that keeps on going. So I used to walk up to the chefs and ask them, how do you make this sizzle, or like, how do you make a kebab? Because I used to try it back at home, but either the kebab used to keep on falling, it won't hold on to the skewers.
Mhm.
They used to try their best to make me understand, and I used to come back, and then I used to like, again experiment, trial, experiment. And that was the time just YouTube had slowly started coming, so I used to mostly go on to the YouTube platform and try to search on recipes and skills. And yeah, that's how I started developing interest. And that's the time I had actually come across a movie called Chini Kam, which I'm sure even you might have seen. It's a
Mhm.
very wonderful movie in which Mr. Amitabh Bachchan has portrayed the role of a chef. So there was one particular scene in which he's telling his entire kitchen brigade that cooking is not just like, a mere job. It's like the biggest art, and we are the biggest artist in the entire world, because what we create not just attracts anyone's eyes, but it attracts a person's eyes, nose, and tongue, all three senses towards it. So that's why we are the greatest artists in the world. And that thing, it just like, touched my heart. And afterwards, it was just, I just wanted to do that. Like, just immerse myself into this art and try to learn more
Mhm.
and just become a chef. So it started from there. And afterwards, which after my 12th, I planned and I approached my parents and told them that I want to become a chef and I want to go to a hotel management college, get to learn more. And they were really supportive of it. But it was not the case with everyone. As usual, like, there were few relatives who were against it, because their main concern was like, okay, it's not a much reputed job, because that time the Master Chef India and everything had just slowly started coming up. Means chef was still a big like something new to the Indian
Mhm.
society. So it was just slowly starting to come up. And but my parents always stood by me. They were like, okay, if you want to go there and follow your passion, then you just go. So I enrolled into Vaksha, that is Welcome Group Graduate School of Hotel Administration, Manipal University, and I did my bachelor's in hotel management from there. So it was a 4-year course where I had an amazing learning experience, got to learn a lot from amazing chef faculties over there. And over there also means when I had joined, you can say that like my level of qualification was and understanding of food was kind of like, even way little higher than the other students who had just joined over there. Because for me, it used to be, I always used to be in the kitchen. Even in the childhood, I never used to go out in the field to play, but I always used to be in the kitchen and just
Mhm.
use up all the playing time just cooking around. So even my chefs were amazed with that. They always supported me, and they always like, encouraged me to stay back after classes, or if suppose they had a class going on for seniors, they used to make sure that like, a special demonstration only for the culinary arts students. So they used to make sure that I am also enrolled into it. So
Wow.
that was a good thing. And yeah, so slowly it was started from there. And in my final year, I was chosen to become the culinary service in charge. That is the title which is given to one of the senior students. And under him, it's all the culinary aspects, like all the kitchen aspects of the college, uh, it falls under him. So any competition, any cooking competitions, or it could be the menu, or it could be like, if any food festival that needs to take place. So everything has to go through me. So I was given that responsibility. And yeah, there were a lot of like, new learning experiences that I had in college as well. um, and after like, graduating from Vaksha Manipal, that
Mhm.
was the time I just wanted to learn more, because this was, since this was a BHM course and it's not actually specialized towards becoming a chef. Whereas I wanted to go to for my further studies, like, just to get to learn more about this industry. So I had enrolled into CIA, like I had applied for it, and there was a quite lengthy procedure that they had. But after waiting for several months, I got into CIA, and then I was given the opportunity to go over there and study. So I
So,
enrolled into uh,
Harshil,
yes.
just a second. Before people start wondering what you were doing at CIA, why don't you just elaborate on what exactly it is, the institute?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So the CIA actually stands for the Culinary Institute of America,
Hmm.
as you can see on my chef coat. So
Wow.
it's the Culinary Institute of America. It's actually known as the Harvard for chefs. So if it's a very beautiful campus, it has a lot of courses specializing in each and every cuisine,
Hmm.
and it has specialties even for baking and pastry students. Apart from that, you can even take up food science for your bachelor degree, wine courses. So it's just a campus dedicated towards food and
Hmm.
drinks. So yeah, it was a very wonderful learning experience over there as well.
Hmm.
Obviously, it was a big culture shock because going from studying in Indian college and going over there to a foreign country and getting to learn over there from the chefs from different cultures, it was something that I was truly amazed with. But over there also, I had like an amazing experience where I got to learn a lot from not just from the chef faculties but also from my colleagues. And yeah, it was mostly about that. And then after studying in the CIA, which was actually a 2 year course, I graduated and then I moved on to work into Michelin Star Tulsi, where I had joined over there and I worked for them with them for some time. After which I moved on to Aspen. In Aspen, I joined the Little Nell, which is a ski resort. So I joined them and I had joined them as a beginner because till that time, prior to that, all my experiences wouldn't have counted. So I had joined them as a beginner, and then I worked my way up into the kitchen ladder. And after working with the Aspen Skiing Company for almost a year, I had to come back to India because of my visa issue, as my visa had expired. So it was like I just came back to India, and it was when I was spending the time over here with my family. That's the time one of my family friend who resides in Singapore, they had suggested if I can just pay them a visit instead of just I had nothing to do over here. So I went over to Singapore to spend some time with them, and they came up with the idea, why don't you start searching for something around for a job? So I just randomly sat down one day, sending out resumes, and that's it. Like the very next day, I got a reply from one of the top cafes over there, and they were interested to get to know me more. So I went over, had my interview, had my trade test, and I cleared all of that. So I was given the job of a sous chef over there in the cafe. So it is also a very amazing upcoming cafe called Wild Honey. It has been there for almost like 10 years now, and it's still growing. They started off with just one outlet, but now they have expanded over to three outlets, and it's totally amazing. It has a all day breakfast kind of menu that they serve over there. And as soon as I had joined them, I had joined them as in the post of a sous chef. But working over there, I even got the opportunity to where my bosses came upon me and then they asked me to help them branch out and open the latest outlet. So that was also one big opportunity that came over,
Hmm.
and I was asked, like I was given this opportunity to open a brand new establishment for them, and I was responsible for each and everything of that setting up of the entire restaurant, setting up of the kitchen, which for me was like something totally unique because uh, so far I didn't have much of that experience. But then they had totally trusted me, and I just lived up to their expectations. Open, we all had an amazing run of that restaurant, and it's still successfully running. Uh, and yeah, that's it.
Wow.
So so far, that's
And long way to go. Uh,
yeah.
we wish you loads of success, Harshal, in the coming years. So,
Thank you.
uh, what are some of your most unforgettable memories? from the experience you've had so far?
There have been like many unforgettable memories everywhere wherever I had been, whether it be Vaksha, in Manipal, where I was studying my bachelor's in hotel management. It was winning the Christ College chef competition. So winning that cup was something that would like I will always remember. And then it was like yeah, there were like few other incidences which no one is prepared for, but then those are the things that develop you more as a chef or as an individual, makes you more stronger. And there was one particular incident in the college where we keep on organizing different kind of food festivals for it's open to the general public, and where we try to set up a kind of restaurant with different theme. This goes on only for a short time period for about 2 to 3 days, but we set up everything right from scratch, the entire ambience of the restaurant, making the menus, handing out the flyers, inviting people, and everything. So it started off with that when this incident took place when I was in my third year. And in third year, you work as an understudy. Means in the final year students, that is the fourth year students, they are the ones who are in charge of the kitchen, and the third years are just made to do the understudy work if they are selected, where you just work under them, basically like a sous chef in real situation. So you just work under them, and then you just whatever orders they give, you just need to follow that. So the situation was such that during my food festival in third year, my senior, he who was a like fourth year student, he actually came up with the menu for Total American Bistro, and he wanted to serve sizzlers, which I thought was like not a great idea because first we were short on all the sizzler plates, and but I approached him with that tactic, but then he was not at all willing to give up on his idea. So we went on and we did serve sizzlers, but it was a total disaster on the first day. And he being the fourth year student, he had actually appointed his friends who also were in fourth years to handle that station. Because when you are like in a hotel management college and you're working on in the kitchen team for a food festival, everyone wants to take the main spotlight. So in the kitchen, it would be sizzlers and the sizzler station because that's going to be jam packed during a busy night. So everyone wants to jump onto it. But no other year students were given that opportunity, only the fourth year students. And I was just standing over there, and my senior had asked me to just stand on the main pass and just make sure all the garnishes are right. Whereas I just approached him and told him like, let me be on the sizzler station and just like push, help them push out the orders. And he just like stood there and just like it was a total chaos that like even my kitchen head, he had just given up. He sat down in the kitchen, middle of the kitchen, holding his head and
Sorry,
just
sorry to interrupt you, Harshal. Your connection just went, you just went blank after you said you said you wanted to be there with the. So from there, just repeat that, please. Just yeah,
is it fine now? Hello.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Just the last bit of what you said. Just repeat that.
Okay. So he was not actually willing to give up on his idea of the sizzlers, and he just like implemented that idea, and it was a total chaos because the people who were running the sizzler station were not knowing of how to handle the pressure, and within the first few minutes, the entire kitchen was into panic because all the sizzlers were coming back. We were not having any more sizzler plates to serve up the new orders, and the orders that had already gone out are coming back again, and it was a total panic situation and a chaos. My kitchen head was just in tears in middle of the entire kitchen because he couldn't manage the stress. And that's the time I just went up to him. I told him like, okay, you no need to panic. You just let me handle the station and just trust me. I went over there, asked the two fourth year students to just like move aside, and then I just managed the entire station, pull on just like working off with the Sizzler station, and then after that onwards, we never had any single Sizzler order sent back. On top of that, like in on the second day, there was another one more guest who
Okay,
asked for the.
let me just interrupt. What did you do, Harchal? What was it that you did, to handle the situation?
Okay, so I actually what actually happened was like they were working on small scale burners, that is means it's small flame burners, and the main first thing that I did was like ask them to remove that small flame burners, and I went into the adjacent kitchen and got the huge big flame burners which we mostly use for quantity cooking.
Hmm.
And the flame speed over there is very high, so it makes the plates really hot and very fast. And I just stacked all the plates one on top of each other, because for sizzler also you need to make the metal plate hot first and then start plating
Hmm.
before you can send it out. So I just started making all the plates hot and just started sending the sizzlers out one by one, and after which it was just sizzling the entire time.
Wow.
So even the next day when we had one guest who particularly came over and asked, like it was like a challenge. He just wanted to challenge the team. He was seated at a distance which was like very far away, and he came up and asked the waiter that, okay, ask your chef to deliver the sizzler over here. If it comes sizzling, I'll pay double the cost of what it's on the menu.
Okay.
So this order came up to me, and I was like, okay, I'm up for the challenge. Just cranked up the heat. I made his order out, and it was just like so hot that the entire sizzler plate was on fire.
Hmm.
And till the time, like the guest also wrote in his comment card, like till the time he finished eating his sizzler was sizzling the entire time. So
Okay.
like this, you keep on having small incidences where you get to learn. You are put under like some kind of pressure test. You get to learn from that, and
Hmm.
you just need to move ahead and make sure that you never repeat that kind of mistake again.
Hmm. Wow.
So this is like few moments from when I was in Vaksha,
Hmm.
Manipal,
Hmm.
along with my team, and when I had like represented my college for the Christ College Bangalore Christ College chef competition,
Hmm.
and we had emerged as the winner for the competition. So these are few moments from that.
Hmm.
This is my time at the CIA, working with amazing chefs
Hmm.
and amazing classmates,
Hmm.
where they were like students from all different type of nationalities: Korea, uh, India, Bangladesh, and even America. So and working with them, it was an amazing experience because you get to learn a lot.
Hmm.
These are like some of my amazing mentors, starting with my mom, dad, who have
Hmm.
always guided me.
Hmm.
And then there are the few other chefs that I had worked with and studied under when I was at the CIA. Has to be like my most proudest moment at CIA, because it was actually when I was doing the cuisines of Asia in the CIA, and that is the time, like when you are given 3 weeks of time, and everyone learns different type of cuisines. And that could be like Thailand, Thai cuisine, or Korean, Chinese, Japanese, even Indian. So we have to like follow and try to learn all the different type of cuisines. And he was a chef instructor, Chef Tanner. So it was during this time when it was turn for to learn the Indian cuisine. He had approached me and asked me whether I would like to make any dish since I was from India for the entire team. So I just agreed to him, and I had made the roasted coconut chicken curry, which is like one of my specialties. So I actually made up that dish, and first he was shocked to see the quantity which I had made, because it was a lot for the entire team. So I just told him like, no worries. If there is any curry left, I will take it, and I'll like have it with my other Indian friends. So, but as soon as we like everyone took their share of the meal and then went for the lunchtime, and I was shocked. Like when I got back, the entire drum of chicken curry that I had made was over. And that's the time like I approached the chef and I asked him like, you were telling me that we will be having a lot of leftovers. And then even the chef was like, I'll tell you seriously, I have so many other chef instructors who keep on coming every time. And there was one particular chef instructor who has been at the Culinary Institute of America for almost 22 years. So for 22 years, He used to come daily to the cuisines of Asia and eat the food over there because he loves Asian cuisine. So that chef, he's a pretty strict chef, and everyone is like afraid of him most of the time in the college. So he came over. He had the chicken curry, and he came back again. He had two more servings of the chicken curry, and then he approached Chef Kana and asked like, "Who made this curry? I
Mhm.
need the recipe for this."
Mhm.
So that chef, then later on, Chef Tanner was telling me that I have never seen that chef give so much compliments for any single dish. And he has asked for the recipe. So please give me the recipe so I can forward it to him. And that's how I gave him the recipe. So later on, after the class ended, chef asked me to stay back and we were having a talk. And that's the time, Chef Kana asked me, which cuisine are you mostly interested towards. So I told him like I'm mostly interested towards Indian cuisine. I mean, I came to CIA is to learn other cuisine, but doesn't mean that I don't want to learn Indian cuisine. So what he told me was that he was actually shocked because majority of the other Indian students who come over, they all are either inclined towards French cuisine or towards learning some other cuisine. Whereas Chef Cano was always interested in learning Indian cuisine. He told me that if that's his plan after retirement is to just like give up everything and learn Indian cuisine for the rest of the life. So he loved Indian cuisine so much, and that's the time he was asked me if I could refer him any cookbook. So I had referred him India cookbook by Mr. Dr. Pushpesh Pant. So I had referred him that book, and the last pic that you see me signing the book is during my graduation
Mhm.
when I had approached to say him goodbye,
Mhm.
and that's the time he showed me the book and he told me that I had bought the book that you asked me, and he asked me to sign it for him. So yeah, that was one of the proudest moments that I
Wonderful.
had at CIA.
So, you have been working through so many different challenges, you won competitions, and you've been in such situations. Uh, your own perspective, what are some of the qualities and skills that are a must have for chefs?
So the quality and the main quality that I think that any chef should possess is having the passion and
Mm.
creativity. These two are it goes side by side. Like when you have a passion, you should even have the creativity, otherwise you just die in this industry very soon. And then on top of that, you even need to be responsive. That is like if you come up with some situation, you should know how to act upon it. Okay, a chef can never panic, because if you would see, the chef actually translates to captain.
Mhm.
So he's basically like the captain of the entire ship. He
Mhm.
can't panic. So you need to guide your team members around, and you need to be responsible,
Mhm.
so that whenever anything goes wrong, or your team should look up to you. They should be confident that you are there and they can rely on you.
Mhm.
So that is few other qualities that a chef must have. And then the other one is you should be open to changes. That is, you should be open to try new things, new dishes, new food, if you want to become a chef. Because there are some chefs who restrict themselves because of their religious sentiments, which is totally fine with me. But then apart from that, you should just as much as possible just go around eating food and trying to register whatever you tasted, register it in your mind and try to make it, and never give up. Because if you give up,
Mhm.
you can never make a dish. If you bake a cake, or if you have ever baked a cake, many of them know it doesn't come out proper the first time. So you just can't give up on it. You need to keep on trying and figure out, learn from the mistakes, and again keep on trying till the time you get it right. So
Wow.
those are few qualities that a chef must have. And apart from that, you had showed in one of your presentation in the very beginning, is that a chef must think like a scientist and work like an accountant. Those are few other qualities that a chef must have, because those are the qualities that differentiate between a chef and a cook. Because these a cook is a person who's just making the orders and sending it out. Whereas to become a chef, you need to be you should be aware of how much ingredients you have, and what are the foods you are sending out. You need to plan, you need to forecast.
Mm.
that what you would be selling. You need to like, that is another thing that you must have as a chef is like, you need to sell yourself. Basically, if you are a chef, you're selling your creativity. You need to like, market. You should know how to market it properly.
Mhm.
So those are like, few of the characteristics that a chef must have.
Okay. This sounds really, interesting, and I think inspiring also to those people who may be, looking at this industry um, as a place to be in the future. So, Harshal, what are some of the best memories in terms of feedback or compliments that you've got?
So some of the best feedbacks that I had got was actually not in when I was in the kitchen. It was actually in Taj when I was working with the Taj Mahal Palace in Towers, Mumbai, and
Mhm.
I was working in the service department over there.
Okay.
So it so happened that as soon as it was my morning shift and I was doing the breakfast shift, I went in for my breakfast shift, and I was serving a particular table where there was a lady, and she was actually of American nationality, and she came up and then she had requested for strawberries for her breakfast. Whereas at that point of time we didn't have any strawberries around. We just had like, strawberry syrups, but it was like, the strawberries were out of season and it was not readily available. And that was the first thing that our chefs had told us was like, just make keep note that these so and so fruits are not available. But still I was like, I didn't feel like saying no to her. So I
Mhm.
just like went and asked her that if you're willing to wait for a few minutes, extra minutes, then I'm just like, I'll go and check each and every nook and corner of the hotel if I can get you any strawberries. So I went around checking all the 11 restaurants in the kitchen that we have in Taj. And luckily, one of the restaurants did have a few packets of strawberries that they have been saving up on. And I just like, got it nicely decorated in a bowl and gave it to her. And she was just like surprised. She just came up to me and was that you made my day.
Mhm.
And that was like one of the best comments that I got, because that's the time I realized like, we even have the power of like changing a person's mood, or like, to like
Yes.
you can mold a person's day
Hmm.
just by making them an amazing breakfast and serving it with a smile. You can just like, change the and brighten their day.
Wow, this really sounds good. So, Harshal, I'm sure it must have been a little challenging for you because, in terms of perception,
Yeah.
society still doesn't accept certain professions very seriously. So, how has the status of chefs changed over the years?
So the status of chefs, I would say, has changed a lot in just about a past decade or so. Because especially in India, like, you might be aware that when like they never used to encourage men to enter the kitchen also. Always it used to be there, like it was the concept or the thinking that like, cooking is only for women and only women should be there in the kitchen. And if there were like, few cooks who used to work in hotels or restaurants, they were never given that respect because they were always looked upon and just like, treated as if like it's a very low job to do. But in the past decade it has just completely changed, because now means after there are like few shows like the Master Chef that has come up. Like now the chefs have also got the celebrity status, so it's no more just limited to being in the kitchen. These days you find it's more common when you go into a restaurant that chefs coming up and interacting with you, with the
Mhm.
diners. That is one thing that has changed over the years. And on top of that, like chefs have just not restricted themselves to the kitchen. They are even making global decisions when it comes to few situations. Because I'll tell you one incident that happened was in Modena, Italy. So Modena is the place where actually Parmesan cheese comes from.
Mhm.
So it was this situation happened in 2001 when earthquake hit Modena, and their factory, their biggest factory, which had almost around 10,000 barrels of wheels of Parmesan cheese, they all were stacked on top of the shelves and the entire shelves collapsed. So all the Parmesan wheels were cracked, which could lead to like, spoilage. And this was a big issue big threat to the entire Parmesan production. So at this point, it was the government officials who approached one particular chef over there who was very influential, and he's still around. His name is Massimo Bottura. So when he was approached and by the government asking to help the Parmesan cheese
Mm,
producers
mm,
in some way, so that's the time he came up with one particular dish called cacio e pepe. That is like it mostly uses Parmesan cheese
mm,
as it's basically a risotto dish, a pasta dish with loads and loads of Parmesan cheese. So he came up with that dish, and that dish just went viral,
mm,
and it was like in so much demand from across the globe. Everyone was making that dish. All the chefs were just went in to promote and help out the Parmesan producers. And such was the scale that just within a week or so they had sold out all the Parmesan wheels without even incurring into any loss. So from that you get to know slowly chefs can even change the market, and they can even make decisions which influence the way people eat, the way people dine, such as improve the status of the chefs have become. And on top of that, they have become more how to say right from from becoming food bloggers, or just going into their having their own brands of cutleries, crockeries. So it's just like a very vast diverse field now. It's not just limited to a kitchen.
mm, mm. So, the role of a chef is not just limited to the kitchen, and there are different levels, there are different types. So, why don't you just tell us a little bit about that?
So there are different types and different styles of chefs that you will mostly find all around. But mostly, I just like to see them as there are basically two types. One are always the old school style of chefs who just like to do everything the old school, the French method, and then they just are so. It means for them, their palate is they're very strict. Like when it comes to putting something in the mouth and what they are eating, they hardly care about what the other people are making, or their feelings, or what they have come across to put that food. For them, it's all about their food, their palate, their taste, and their art. Whereas on the other hand, you'll see there are the new kind of chefs who are more open to tasting different food and trying to use different elements from different cuisines to come up with a plate that shows all the elements from across. And they are more open to creativity, more open to of more acceptable, they are more acceptable to when people present any kind of dish in
Hmm,
front of them.
okay. Uh, Harshil, you just said elements several times. What is elements?
Elements.
Yeah.
So uh, so in kitchen, when we describe a food, so
Hmm,
we like to say it's made up of different elements. If you take a simple salad, so in that salad also, like we have the green, that is another one element, and then we have the vinaigrette, or all the components basically that comes up. So yeah.
that's what you call elements, right?
Yes,
Okay.
components, or you can term them as components as well of a plate.
Okay. Okay. And how do you classify chefs otherwise? I mean, in technical terms, you know,
The kitchen hierarchy.
yeah.
So it actually, if you would see, most of the time the kitchen is actually divided into different sections. Wait, I'll just try to share one pic with you if it's fine.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, can you? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes,
Can
we
you
can.
can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so in this, if you would see the kitchen hierarchy, it actually flows. I'll
Mm.
start from the very bottom because that's where most of the people start from.
Yeah.
So on the star at the very base is like the dishwashers or the pot wash that we call, or
Mm.
the waiters. So most of the time, what happens is like if you join and if you don't have any qualification uh, in anything related to food, so you would mostly be ending up in this position, from which you can like slowly start your way up. And there have been like a few chefs like Anthony Bourdain and Ferran Adria who actually started from here
Mm.
and are now well recognized global chefs. So you start from here, then going on to is a commis chef. Commis chef is basically a junior chef. So once they hand you over a knife and you start cutting, chopping, or doing any kind of prep, that's what a commis chef is. So they are the ones who are responsible for doing all the preps for all the elements. So when you're making sauces, all the cutting of the vegetables, or it could be like arranging the fridge or like moving around products, everything is done by commis chefs.
Mm.
After which there are different sections in a kitchen, starting from like saucier, butchery station. Then there is garde manger, which is the cold station, which deals with the salads and all the cold sandwich preparations, pastry station. So then is all your like the different stations which have their own heads, called as like CDP or chef de partie. They are the ones who are responsible for their own station. So these people, if you order a dish, not all the dishes made by one person in a kitchen. It works as a team. So if you will go and order, suppose you order one main course which has a fish and another which is a chicken. So as soon as the order lands into the kitchen, this is expedited by a sous chef or a junior sous chef. They are the people who mostly expedite this order to the entire team. And then these team, they need to communicate with each other and try to bring out that food or that order on time together. So that is the biggest challenge. And then is your like, so these are the chef de parties who are responsible for each and every station. Then comes is the sous chef, who is basically second in command of the kitchen, or you can say he's the co-pilot of the entire kitchen. He's
Mm.
the one who on behalf of the chef manages the entire kitchen if whenever the chef is not around, or he is mostly responsible for doing like the scheduled rosters for the entire kitchen team,
Mm.
or taking inventories and all those things, the month end inventories, all those the sous chef. Or even if any placing of orders is to be done, or if suppose any station is having problem to push out the orders, then
Mm.
he's the one who will jump in to help them out.
Okay.
As the rest of them, everyone is busy managing their own station. Then comes the executive chef, who is the head of the entire kitchen. And so executive chef is the one who makes the menu. He's the one who implements the menu. He's the one who like does all the dealing with the suppliers, the management, and like the restaurant management. And he's the one who looks and does all the forecasting.
Mhm.
So it just basically everything just falls under him. He's solely responsible for whatever happens in his kitchen.
Mm.
Then sometimes when it is a chain, like a ITC chain of hotels or Taj group of hotels, so if there is such situation where there are a lot of restaurants
Mhm.
falling under one group, so then they have a group chef, or it could also be known as a corporate chef. They are the ones who manage all the other outlets.
Mhm.
So if you will see, when it comes to ITC or Taj, in Taj it was Chef Hemant Oberoi who used to do this position. So he's the one who will be producing the menus out, and they are put into circulation throughout all the hotels across Taj.
Mhm.
So yeah, so basically that that is the kitchen hierarchy.
Mhm.
And it also depends on the number of years, because like different, it takes a certain amount of years to get up to the position of a executive chef. Mostly it's almost around 10 to 12 years of experience that is required to become an executive chef. If you want to become a corporate chef, you need to be either associated with the company from the very beginning, or it can easily take you around 20 to 25 years of experience to land up as a corporate chef, because the higher you go in the hierarchy, the more experience you require.
Okay. Yeah, that's splendid. Really interesting. Harshal, what would you suggest? What is the advice you would like to give to youngsters who may be aspiring to be chefs?
So for all the youngsters who are aspiring to be a chef, I would just like to advise them is that first, like you make up your mind whether you think that this profession is something that you really want to go for, because now what I have noticed in the past few years is that many of the people they enroll into the course without knowing the backdrops or like the downs of this industry. They just jump into it thinking that it's full of glamour, that they enter the industry and they will be coming out as executive chefs or like master chefs. It's not so. You need to get inside, and it's like a long way before you reach the position of an executive chef or you get the fame or publicity that you see on TV.
Mhm.
So I would just like to suggest them that you, before you think of even joining any course as such, you can just try and do a stage, or what they say is like do an apprenticeship with a small hotel or a restaurant. Just try to work with them for a few days so you can figure out whether is this something that you are really looking up for, because these courses are not cheap, because most of these courses are even these days are very pricey, because it takes a lot of ingredients for even to teach you. And so yeah, so you just need to make sure that you have your mindset, and if you have your mindset, then just follow your passion, just go for it, and just try to get in touch with as much people as possible here in this industry. And there are few other things that most of the people look up to is like you need to be willing to learn, because as soon as you go, you keep on learning under different chefs. You need to keep on changing,
Mhm.
and you need to just whatever they are teaching, you need to focus on that, and you need to be open to like advices. That is another thing that you get the most around is advices. So you need to just take the advices and just learn from it. And yeah, there are always going to be a lot of bullies in the kitchen, because it's a profession that has a lot of seniority rules.
Mhm.
So you just need to take it all in your stride. Like if someone challenges you, you need to just be up to have that challenge, or face that challenge. Yeah. And on top of that, yeah, another thing that I would like to say is that yeah, the main thing that I have noticed over years, like people when they join this industry and they quit, is because there are you need to be able to make sacrifices. That is the one main thing, because kitchen life is not easy. You sometimes you just going up early in the morning, coming up late at night, and you have to skip up on all the family occasions, or the family get-togethers, all the holidays. So you just have to give up all of that. So you just need to be willing to do that, because I've seen so many times that the young, all the young enthusiasts, they enter, and then after maybe a year or so, they just quit, because they don't want to stay away from the family, or they just like to celebrate festivals with the family more than being in the kitchen. So yeah, you do need to be able to make sacrifices.
Okay. So, Harshal, of course, you are a brilliant chef. Which is the best
Thank
meal
you.
for you, though? The
Which
best,
is the
the best food for Harshal comes from.
from my mother. that is that is one thing that you might have heard several times. All the different type of chefs also saying it's either gonna be their mother or grandmother,
Huh.
because no one can beat that, and that is like hands down, it's the truth. Because most of them have learned from them. So it's like always the mother or the grandmother is your primary teacher, so you can never beat them. So yeah,
Okay.
she would be she would be the my mentor, and like the only person who I trust with my meals and look up to
Okay.
having her meals all the time.
Okay. Wow, this was really interesting talking to you, Harshal. We could have gone on and
Okay.
on, but
Yeah.
I think we'll conclude here. Thank you so much
Okay.
for your time, and it was wonderful sharing
You're
and
welcome.
listening to your stories. Is there
You're welcome.
any one thing that you would like to conclude with? Just to say to anybody who's listening about, what the chefs mean to this world?
I would just like to say is that now, like how we discussed earlier, now being a chef is not always like a small type of job. It's something that has changed and moved on to a global level. It is one of the most reputed job these days. So if you are up and willing to take up challenges, then just go for it, and just make sure that you never mm, like if your parents or your relatives are not agreeing to send you to this course, enroll to this course, then no need to be disheartened. Just work yourself slowly into this field, because I have seen so many times that I had actually few of my colleagues and my other fellow students who were past maybe 50 years when they joined into a culinary course to become chefs. So it's never too late to start anything new. So you can take up this profession whenever you want. And yeah, that's it. Just follow your passion.
So follow your passion. Thank you, Harshal, for being with us. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
So